Stablecoin infrastructure spend years waiting for regulation to catch up. The Genius Act in the US, the new licensing regime in the UAE, it's finally happening. And SquareFi is moving fast. SquareFi is a one-stop API for fintechs, including accounts, cards, cross-border rails, all settled in stablecoin underneath. And Anton Lobintsev, the co-founder, is raising a Series A partly to fund a UAE license after MENA quietly became 40% of his customer base. And also, I wanted to know, can you really build $1 billion fintech with under just 50 people? Now, let's talk to him. Hi, Anton. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let me explain SquareFi to you, and maybe you can tell me whether I understand this correctly or not. So, SquareFi is a single API that lets a fintech plug in and get accounts, cards, crypto wallets, cross border rails all at once, with stable coins doing the settlement underneath. So, they don't have to stitch together like multiple vendors.
Totally correct. But it's just a part because API is one. Yeah, obviously it's the core of the infrastructure, but also we have a turnkey white label solution. So if you don't want to develop, if you're not a developer, but you want to run your own like bank like or quasi bank infrastructure, we can help with that. Give you a front end solution. Application will be ready, I think, in a Q3 2026. So it depends. API or turnkey solution with the front end and app.
Yeah. So, okay, this is something that I was wondering. So, there is API, there is white labeling solution, and then there is also this consumer application, right? I'm forgetting the name. Mosta.
Mosta.io, you're
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
It's our direct B2B solution. Actually, it's a kind of a front runner because there is a lot of customers who are coming for us on the conferences, like through direct advertising or something like this, and they're asking just about the cards or accounts or cross-border payments. And all of a sudden, we decided that why we're just saying that they should go to one of our partners. We can run like our own infrastructure. So yeah, this is the example of what we can do. And right now, it's just a separate product that we developed.
Yeah. So where do you see SquareFi eventually evolving to? So, is it going to be like a API solution, a white labeling solution, or let's say like a direct consumer?
Well, SquareFi is a 100% API solution for the developers. So we are B2B2C or like B2B2X. And Mosta is the separate solution, separate brand. We're even establishing separate organization for Mosta. So actually, why is there? Because we don't want our end customer to have a feeling that we are competing with them. So if there is somebody receiving payment from SquareFi, he can Google for SquareFi and what he can find out the SquareFi solution, stablecoins, API, very complicated. So probably receiver of the payments will not have an idea to go directly to SquareFi and board. So that's why we're splitting Most and SquareFi.
Okay, help me understand this. So, if you're a fintech, and if you don't use SquareFi, then what are the alternatives? And then how hard it is for fintech without your solution?
If there is no SquareFi and I would like to start building something, I don't have a financial licensee, so I want to add a lot of products. Probably I need to go for probably Breach or guys like Blind Pay for the accounts. Probably I need to find someone like Wirex for the cards, something for the crypto processing, and probably I will have some problems with the integrational stuff of this crypto processing solution with the Wirex and Breach because of the compliance stuff. So they don't want, they just want to be sure that crypto is clean, blah blah blah, all of this stuff. So even in this case, I just need to find the communication with the three different vendors. And I need to align all of these solutions. With SquareFi, you can have all the things in one place. And it's always growing. So we just started within accounts and cards. And all of a sudden, we're like, let's say we'll introduce an acquiring. So you can just add it to your product and you will have an acquiring once we will have an acquiring.
Yeah. So besides the product you mentioned, this is again provided that you already have the legal license.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, of
Yeah.
course, we're licensed in Canada.
Okay.
You
Okay.
don't
So
need
so
if you want. Sorry.
no, no. I mean, I just meant to ask whether compliance is a big part of um, the business.
Indeed, indeed. As I mentioned, so all of this business, like 90% about the compliance and regulations.
Okay.
10% is tech.
Okay.
90% is compliance and regulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys were doing real estate tokenization, and from there you've started this. What was the moment like? When did you realize that okay, this is something that I should focus on?
Probably it was a moment when we realized that actually my partner Dennis, he's responsible for the business development and sales. And all of a sudden he found out that most of the time our customers, like prospects for the tokenization, they're starting a conversation about, well, guys, we know everything about the tokenization. You guys helping to transfer money, right? So actually, yeah. So like 90% of the potential customers for the tokenization, they wanted us to help them to accept just the crypto and fiat payments for the real estate from all over the world. And then we decided with Dennis, so why are we keeping this complex part about the tokenization? Let's start a fintech business. Let's just cut off something that is very complicated. So let's focus on payments. And here we are.
So you mentioned about compliance and regulation being 90% of the business. And now it's moving in the right direction across the world, right? Like, I mean, there is a lot of positive sort of compliance and regulation coming into place, especially for stablecoin, um, uh, like cross border payment solutions.
Mhm.
Did you always know that this was coming, or you feel lucky that, okay, now this is happening?
It's interesting question. Thank you for this because it's like a little bit complicated. Because me and Dennis were like in a startup business. We cannot say startup business, and the startup feels like for my own stuff, it's like more than a decade. And as a startupper, so you don't always sure about this. You're just having a feeling that things gonna work. So when we started, of course, but we started not too long ago. Was 2000. Started with the real estate tokenization. It was 2022. But again, stablecoins was in charge. Yes, there is no clear regulation back to this time about it, but it was acceptable. So institutions were okay with that. Right now, what we see, it's better. So when we started with like fintech, the total fintech solutions, um, most of the major financial institutions were okay with the stable coins. Of course, there was a problem, for example, in Asia, and it's still there. So in Hong Kong, it's very complicated. In Singapore, well, it's hard to get a crypto licensing. But if we're talking about the US, if we're talking about Europe, Europe is complicated region, but US is like right now the US I think is the best place to be like the business location to run a stablecoin business. The feeling about this, of course, we knew that something should be changed about the stablecoins. It should be regulated. It should be something like Genius Act. So yeah, we felt that this is the right way, and yeah, this is the right way.
So you said you have a license in Canada. Um, um, so, like, I mean, I've seen other companies. Sometimes when you need to operate and grow, you need licenses
Mhm.
in different geographies, right? So,
Yes.
what does just the Canadian license allow you to do at the moment? And what do you, I mean, do you also plan to get licenses across other geographic regions?
Yeah, very good question. So it's all about our strategy. And that's actually partially why we're raising right now. Yes, Canada is a good starting point because the regulational landscape in Canada, it allows you to work with some kind of exceptions with the reverse solicitation and stuff like this. Not very attractive to do so, but it's possible. So a lot of companies doing that. Why it's a good starting point? Because in one license with a very clean framework, you can have like crypto, forex. I'm not talking about the forex trading. I'm talking about the currency exchange. Some stuff of custody, it's complicated, and some payments if you are regulated by the Bank of Canada, which we are starting to do. So this is a good starting point to consolidate things. But again, structure that we are operate, it's much more complicated just a single Canadian license. So for some services and for some region, we rely on a partner licenses. For example, when we're working in the United States of America, we rely on like two of our US partners. In US, it is okay for you to run AML and compliance stuff without a licensee if mining transmitter licensee or MSB licensee hold by your partner. So we are in this case, we're technically running only compliance stuff. We're sharing the results of our compliance screening of the programs, et cetera, with the partners. And partners actually offering the financial services. But again, for our customers, it looks like a single solution, so they don't need to bother about it. Of course, answering to your questions, we're planning to expand. Right now, when we like analyzed across like yearly report, we defined that actually almost 40% of the customers come from the MENA region, especially from the United Arab Emirates. That's why we decided to work a lot on getting a local UAE licensee. We're working on it right now. We're not talking about VAR licensee. We don't want to operate worldwide from the United Arab Emirates. Rather, we want to cover the region, like to cover the local companies with the local licensee. Also, we are running for the Switzerland SRO licensee, which is a little bit better in terms of custody and some other services. It will not give us a total access to Europe, but for some services, it will give us. And yeah, it's very good license. We're not thinking about Europe right now because it's very complicated for us, and we're not focusing on a European market. So we are rely on banking as a service partners again under their licensing. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We need to obtain more licenses. We need to be regulated in like a different region that we want to grow in.
Is that the main sort of reason you're raising the Series A?
One of the reasons. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, it's one of the first reasons. Second reason, we want to offer a better banking rails, and that's why we need a better budget to be able to onboard to the better banks. So I don't want to mention names because this is like under the NDA, but it's like Taiwan American banks that we're planning to work with to offer services, which will like jumpstart some additional services that we don't have right now. But yeah, it's one of the main reasons. And the second reason is just Taiwan C-level guys, especially in the compliance department, in the management department, with fintech background, with a financial background, because we need to enforce team with the guys like this. So we want to afford top tier C-level guys in a team.
Yeah. But for investors, what is their expectation to be able to raise Series A at the moment? Any milestone that you like investors like to see before you can maybe raise Series A? What is the market expectation from an investor perspective?
To be honest, I'm not into it because Dennis usually raising. See, he's working with investors. Sometimes he invited me to investor conversations. What I can see right now, we just have a dialogue, so they are interested. We're showing them a documents, a pitch deck, a data room, and all of this stuff like this. So we're just starting the monitoring of the market. I cannot answer directly what they want. We
Yeah.
just started some conversations.
Okay. Um, so you told me about hiring top talent, and I also understand that you run a very lean team, and the hope is to like build a $1 billion business with very minimal, less than 50 people. Very interested to know how you're thinking about building such organization. I am 100% sure that there is a lot of use of AI. Yeah, would love to know.
Yes, of course. Right now, it's to be honest, it's not 15, it's 25.
Yeah. No,
So
I said under 50 people.
yeah, under 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, correctly, totally. So we want to be like unicorn under the 50 people. You're totally right in this case with this statement. What's happening in the team right now? About the technical team, because I'm like, it's my team. So it's roughly under the 10 people. So I think it's like 8 or 7. The strategy that we're leveraging right now, we're trying to hire a top tier guys with a good experience and of course who are open to work with an AI and explore something new with an AI. So rather than building this like waterfall infrastructure or structure when we have this like this traditional stuff with a product owner, product manager, project manager, then devs, and there's like junior, middle, senior devs, blah blah blah, and all of the stuff like this, we decided to hire just the top tier guys and make them responsible for the specific domain. So from my opinion, in this structure, there is no like team working on a part of the product. There is one guy who working on a part of the product and he managing the agents. And it doesn't matter for me how he's doing it, what kind of tools he using. He just responsible for the results. So, and as an example of the technical team right now, I have my guy, Yuri. He's responsible. He's in Serbia. He's my kind of a tech lead, like co-CTO. He's responsible for the whole team, and mainly he's responsible for the front end and stuff about all of the stuff about the front end. So in his team, there is like two different guys. One of them totally responsible for the mobile application, and another guy totally responsible for like all of the business front ends. Yuri just oversee, and he just starting to oversee all of the team. So there is no like teams. There is a single guy who building the whole application. In my team, there is another guy, Dima. He's from Ukraine, and he's building the whole backend about the core banking and KYC and stuff. I'm also building core banking stuff. So actually, if we're talking about him, he's responsible totally about the compliance module. He knows everything about the compliance, and he like engage as much agents as he wants. Of course, he's building a lot with his own hands because he's a traditional developer. So he needs to switch something in his brain to allow agents to be involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to push in this process. I'm just trying to give them options, give them unlimited budgets to the tokens and see what they can do. And that's it. So this is like kind of a domain infrastructure within the technical team. Very small team, but they are allowed to spawn unlimited agents. If we're talking about another part, non-technical part of the team, there is a very interesting stories when we embrace using of the AI. And one of the greatest stories that we have is my partner, Dennis. To be honest, Dennis is like 100% non-technical. Few months ago, when I shared the tables with him, like the tables, the sheets that we have in Excel with the reports, if there is like something like UUID, I think everybody knows what is a UUID is, some very long number with the letters in it. It was like, Anton, please don't give me like UUIDs. It's a code. So for him, it's a code. And like very complicated tables, you're not okay with that. What we have right now, Dennis implemented a complex CRM system with a total customer amazing, with an integration of our core banking system. So he getting all of this stuff, all of the data from it. Moreover, Telegram agents that emulates a real people. So there is no the Telegram bots. There is a whole installation of the MT Proto without my help. He just did it with the code.
Yeah.
What we decided to do, so it's a very complicated project, and all of the sales team right now working with that. So he's just maintaining whole part about the CRM, customer management, account management, and customer support. So here maintaining the whole product, one guy, no technical background at all. Just this is fantastic. My wife, Catherine, he is responsible for the financials and treasury. He is building right now the complex accounting system. So for all of this complex reporting and the financial reporting, again with the cloud code. So we're not giving them option, like they are okay with the cloud code. And what we decided to do with Yuri is just, as I told, we just need to help them not to kill themselves building these projects. So we just building some kind of borders for them, kind of frontiers or something like this, when they're not allowed to go through. So if they're building a project, for example, Dennis CRM, we're just instructing their agents that first of all they need to, push the Git every time. Every time they need to save all of the information, they're not allowed to. We just physically disallow them to, for example, make some changes in the database, etc., etc. So actually, every significant change should be run through me or Yuri. So we need to read the stuff and then allow agent to do so. So that's kind of borders. That's it. And we're helping a little bit to Dennis, Catherine, and other guys. Just two examples. There is a lot of Pauline, and I will not mention all of the guys. They all using AI. They're building the stuff and they're just asking something. And when we started, it was a lot of questions. But then on one of these meetings, Yuri said, "Hey guys, you have a smartest person inside of your computer. Don't ask us. Just ask an agent." And he can help. Yeah, it was really nice because, for example, Catherine using Windows computers, and we're not on the Windows computers. I'm not using Windows for more than 5 years, so I forgot everything about Windows. And the agent, one of the agents, it was broken because of the specific stuff of the Microsoft. And she said, "Why it cannot help me? So why are not asking another agent to help you? 5 minutes, fixed. That's it. I'm over." Because it's a lot of yeah. I'm very excited about stuff like this. I can describe this stuff for hours.
I too spend a lot of time cloud coding over the weekends. So for the business itself, right? Like I know stablecoin, I think is $300 billion or something in market size at the moment. But for your specific market, what would be the market opportunity size?
Hardly to say right now. We're not limiting ourselves. Actually, all of the market that we have about the USD stablecoin, that the market that we can operate in. I cannot say directly that we aim to the specific market size. Yeah, we'd rather trying to build something and take a part of the market.
Then let me ask something else. If SquareFi fails, what will be the single biggest reason for that failure?
Very complicated and interesting question again. Why it should fail? So I'm trying to find why it should fail. Right now, maybe there is some black swan. So all of a sudden, this market will be. But again, okay, US market will change. We will move to other markets. We have a technological core. We have a team of guys who can understand how to do that and adopt. Okay, US market will be closed. Huge market will be closed. We will move to Latin America. No Latin America, will move to Africa. So we can adapt the platform almost everywhere. It's hard because there is I cannot imagine the failure scenario in this case.
Okay, related question then. What is a one unfair advantage that you have? I mean, there are several players in stablecoin, building stablecoin payment infrastructure or these solutions to accept payments and all these other things, right? What is the one unfair advantage that you guys have over the rest of the folks?
As we started with, first of all, we're a one-stop shop, so it's hard to find the companies like that combine all of this stuff together. And yeah, for the first look, probably you can find one or two, but if you will dig deeper, you will find out that we have much more options than everybody on the market. The second, as we mentioned about this failure, so it's very adaptable system. So we have a very complicated orchestration system that allows us to connect different partners to different rails very quickly. So in this case, if we need to adapt to the specific part of the market and move our customers, our B2B2X customers to this specific part of the market, we can do it very fast. And the third part, I think, is something that we're real thrilled to introduce is the main USD, our own very own stablecoin that we issued with a Braille. It will give us to change a monetization flow that is usually common for the market. So everybody that's charging some bips for the transactions. What we will try to do with the main USD, we will try to move this to the average funds under the management. So for the like main USD part, we will earn as a startup, as a company, we will earn money more about yield that stablecoin generates for us, not for the customers, because you're not allowed to share yield with the customers with the stablecoins. And in this case, because of this income, we will allow our customers to like operate their transactions on almost zero level. So our main goal with this stuff, we want to give our customers an option to like for the free on ramps, free off ramps, free card top ups, etc., etc. So this is like the third potential unfair advantage.
Nice, nice. Um, so if you're selling to fintech, right? What is it that people often underestimate about selling to fintech?
Interesting question. Usually, we're not selling only to the fintechs. We're selling an embedded finance solution for some companies who are not the fintechs. But if we will focus on what you're asking, um, well, they underestimate when they sell into the fintechs, trying to find. Usually, fintechs, they know what they're doing. So actually, it's very hard to sell them for the very high price. They always know the pricing, they always know the market. So you need to be very direct and your offering should be very direct. So just if we're talking about the BIPs, we should be ready to talk about the BIPs, the pricing, the directions and stuff like this, the compliance stuff, how we will integrate there in the compliance. So right now, as you mentioned, of course, we have a lot of solutions inside of our proposal, but usually when fintechs come into you, they're asking for the specific part. So you should be ready to like to deliver this part as fast as possible, and that's it. So if we're talking about that, what we're underestimating, probably they know what they want. So probably it's hard to sell for them with a high price for them.
So it's interesting that you said that the vision is to be able for people to send payments with no cost. So what is your ultimate vision for SquareFi?
Again, as a startuppers, we cannot like, I cannot remember the guy, one of the biggest tech guys right now. He said that if you have a like plans in the current situation, the current market, in the current time, if you have a plans for your project team, for your technical team for like more than a 1 month, probably you're doing something wrong because things are getting changed very dynamically. You cannot plan
Yeah.
for like 5 years and stuff like this. But if we can dream about it, probably what we can say, we will have an additional. So for us, it's something like becoming a settlement network, very accessible settlement network
Yeah.
for others, fintechs or non-fintechs. So they just can plug in and start processing funds within the network for like almost the whole world, except maybe, of course, except sanctioned countries.
Yeah.
So this is the ultimate vision, stablecoin in the center of the settlement network. A lot of local partners or direct local presence and ability to send funds directly to the specific location as fast as possible. Plus, there is like supplement products such as cards, because we're considering cards at the part of the off ramp potentially. So issuing on all of these countries. So for us, ultimate vision, this is a global settlement network that easy to connect to, and you can integrate your product within the settlement network. Why it will work? First of all, because what we can see right now, there is like less separation between financial and non-financial startups or projects. So a lot of projects want to embed some like fintech parts inside of it. And the second thing is what we discussed 5 minutes before is the agentic revolution. So actually right now, there is a lot of stuff that we're trying to rely to the agents to give them an option to deal. Well, we are focusing on something different. So we want to focus on the strategy and we want agents to do the bulk work. So in this case, why I believe that this settlement network with a simple interface will be helpful is that because if agents can adopt and use this network through the MCP and stuff like this, it will be really helpful. So for example, you just want to focus on a strategy and you just want to start transferring funds for like, let's say, Uganda. So you just say an agent, hey, just try to find out somebody, a company who can just send my USDC or main USD to Uganda to my like employees. And agents all of a sudden say, hey, we can do that through the SquareFi. Let's start an onboarding. Very simple. Just give me the documents of your company. 1, 2, 3, and agent's ready to send the funds. So that the like ultimate vision. We can like offer the whole world coverage. We can actually give this option almost for free to do that. Of course, for the specific locations, it will not be for free because it's some problems in a specific location. You cannot do this simply for free in every location of the world. But you can give your agent just a direction that just send funds and he can find out the settlement network, connect, onboard, that's it. So kind of dreaming.
Amazing. And thank you again for taking the time to do this. And good luck with your fundraise and wish you all the very best for SquareFi in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for having me for this interview. Bye.